All right, moving on. This is 2 seconds later, so yep, here we go. I'm fucking still livid over 5, but let's get to 6 and let's talk about what a piece of shit this is. This is Children of the Corn 666, okay? They went the origin of Michael Myers route here. I love how these fucking franchises with Dimension like to just throw the 666 in. Like, it's like when Jaws and Amityville, had to be like, well, it's the third in Friday the 13th. It's the third movie, so it's 3D. Here's 6. Oh, well, it's horror, so it's 666. It's so stupid. It's like Children of the Corn 666. Oh my God, how many did I miss? Okay, Isaac is in a coma in this movie, supposedly. He fucking died, okay? He fucking died. And I'm okay with him coming back as like a spirit, or I'm kind of with no explanation or whatever, but them trying to explain it away by saying he's in a coma, which he's not even actually in the movie. Like, the girl comes in and talks to him because he keeps kind of like waking up, and it's like a wink wink, like, I've been here. I don't know why I have pirate eye right now. That was my multiple winks. That was like the fuck you wink. God, it was just a total disregard. It was kind of like, we explained it and then we fucking just threw it away and we're like, nope, we didn't explain it. Gross. Anyway, the main girl in this is really good looking. I mean, yeah, these are the grasping at straws kind of shit I have to say to make this movie sound even slightly interesting. The plot line of this movie is so convoluted and nonsensical. When I was watching it, I was sitting there and I have to wonder if this is one of those, producers cut Dimension extreme time, not extreme, Dimension production fucking with things, re-edited and structured and reshot, and because this movie doesn't make all that much sense. When I was watching it, I was like, wait, who's what? What's going on? And why are they doing this? And I just watched the movie. I just finished it 20 minutes ago. And like I said about the last one, but even more so here, I don't know what the fuck I just watched. I don't know what happened. And I really was trying to pay attention, but it was so dumb that I just kind of kept tuning out, and I would let my brain wander, and then I'd be like, fuck, I wasn't paying attention to that dialogue right there for like a second. Shit, what'd they say? And then I was like, should I rewind it? And I'm like, no, I don't care. But I'll give you the gist. Hopefully you've watched this movie, or you're just here to fucking see me rip on this. I don't know. Let's continue along. She picks up this hitchhiker, which is ill-advised, when she opens in the movie. So immediately you have to wonder about this girl's decision-making. But she picks up a hitchhiker, this older guy, and she's driving with him. And then all of a sudden, like, they're just driving, and she looks over, and he's missing from the car, which makes her, of course, like anybody, swerve the fucking car and almost crash it. I would, anybody would. If they were driving in a car with somebody at 40, 50 miles per hour, and they were just talking, they didn't hear anything, and they heard his voice, and a second later, he was missing from the car, it would make you crazy. You'd look in the review, you'd freak out, for sure. And she does, and it makes sense. But then she comes to a screeching halt right in the middle. A cop comes right up behind her. And when the cop comes and asks her, what's going on, she was like, oh, sorry, I saw a cat in the road. Why would she lie? That made no sense. Not one decision, not one action, not one emotion that this girl has in this movie makes any sense to the previous scene or the previous thing that just happened. Like, pretty much every time I would just be like, am I watching a different movie? Like, this girl's reactions to situations are so beyond the realm of reality that I have to believe that there was a different scene before this that they changed, and her character just isn't fitting because of that, because it's out of context. So maybe that's not what happened here, but fuck, it has to be, because then she did that, and then the cop's like, all right, like, I need you need to get in the car. Like, I need your license. I need your registration. The cop goes back to her car, and while checking her license and her registration, the girl decides to get out of her car, go out into the corn, and take a piss. And then the cop's looking for her, and then she comes back out of the thing, buttoning up her pants. And the cop's just like, oh, hey, you need to come with me. And they go and they get in the car, like she goes to try to get in her car, which is still parked right in the middle of the road. And the cop's like, no, you need to come with me. It's police protocol. And the girl's like, oh. And she goes and she walks back and she gets in the car and they just drive off, leaving her car in the middle of the road. Police protocol is to leave a fucking car in the middle of the road and not say anything when a suspect who you are currently checking on their information gets out of their car and leaves the scene to go piss, and you're not even... It's so dumb that you're just like, no one would react like that. And this is in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. I was sitting there like, what? None of this is realistic in the fucking slightest. And why did she lie to the cop? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, I swerved because I had a hitchhiker. The only thing you could argue is that she didn't want to sound crazy. But who gives a fuck at that point? You might have to admit to yourself you are crazy, because one of two things happened. You were either fucking crazy or some dude just disappeared from your car. Okay? One of those two things just happened, and you need to know the answer to either one of those questions immediately. Anyway, moving on. Stacy Keach makes an appearance here. He's not in it all that much. And we also have Nancy Allen from RoboCop and Dressed to Kill. So awesome to see her in this. She's underused, as is Stacy Keach, but they probably couldn't afford him for this piece of shit. They brought back Isaac, and it's like they barely use him. I do like something that happens at the end, but it was so lame at that point that I didn't give a shit. This is supposed to be like 15 years after the event of the first movie. I mean, at least timeline-wise for the films being made. I think it's 19 years in the film, but Isaac's like 14, 12 maybe in the first movie. He's 25, by the way, in the first movie. That Isaac, the child, the weird kid. Yeah, he's 25 years old. I looked it up and I was like, that guy was 25 years old? What has he got? Fucking, Gary Coleman, different strokes, that kind of thing. I don't know what Gary Coleman had, but where he always looked like a kid pretty much forever. He must have something like that. But anyway, in this movie, Isaac was only supposed to be like 10 or something, and 19 years has passed, so he'd be what? Fucking 29? 33? He looks 50 in this movie. He looks 45, 50 years old. So I'm not sure what they're saying there. And in real life, he's like 40 in this movie. So I don't know if they put on makeup to make him look older. I don't know why they would do that, because his character isn't supposed to be that old. Did he just age that poorly? I don't fucking know. All right, I've talked about this way too long, as usual. And yet another thing, and I'm going to continue to keep going over this. The girl in this movie, she is in the hospital, and she gets fucking accosted and attacked by a patient in the hospital, and she doesn't then say anything to anyone and just goes back and is talking to a guy a minute later and is laughing and joking with him like that didn't just happen. Like, this guy could have raped her, he could have killed her, anything. She saw a guy disappear from her car. Then a few fucking, maybe an hour later, a guy comes and tries to kill her, assault her, whatever, in a hospital, and she gets away from him, and she says nothing to anybody, and is joking and laughing. I don't understand. Whatever. And then there's a later scene where they're in the cornfield. This is stupid, but they're in the cornfield, and the girl goes and is running away to escape, and Isaac's like, get her! And like instantly as he says get her, like a dirt bike just blows past him. Like, you don't hear it rev up, you don't hear any of the kids get on it. Like, that kid was already ready to go. I thought it was funny. But then the guys are driving through the cornfields at like fucking 50 miles per hour, and another guy, he comes and he jumps like up in the air, like through the corn and over. And it was so funny because it was like you can see where he hits, and it's just like clearly like a ramp behind it. And you're like, why is there a ramp out there? Why would these guys be jumping? It's so stupid. And you can't drive through a fucking cornfield on a motorcycle that fast, by the way. Okay, that scene, I don't know, it was just making me laugh because it's just at that point, it was like anything was setting me off. I was so done with this movie by that point that I was just like, oh, now they're on motorcycles. And now it's a fucking like motocross or like X Games for no reason at all except for to show off like, hey, we hired stuntman, let's use him. Anyway, and then she gets imprisoned with this guy, and they decide, after she knows her mother's been kidnapped and possibly being killed or tortured or whatever, who knows what's happening to her, and she's been imprisoned, and she finds out all this shit's going on, she decides to have a really fun shower scene with this guy she just met. And they're going to shower each other off on other sides of the bar for no reason because they could get to each other's cells. So why they went just in the same cell holding what was above his head, I don't know. And then they start making out through the bars, and then they start fucking, and they're making jokes and they're laughing, and they just were captured. They were just assaulted. They were just... I don't understand anything in this movie. And then the only thing that I did like was that Isaac doesn't even end up being the main bad guy in this movie. The guy that she ends up fucking and whatever. He ends up becoming he who walks behind the rose. He finally embodies, like he becomes somebody. In part 3, we get to see him as a monster. But in this movie, he actually becomes somebody. Whether he was David Carradine's character in the last one, or the kid who was throwing the kids in the silo. I don't fucking know what was going on in that movie, nor do I know what's going on in this one. But he finally does become he who walks behind the rose. And then Karen Allen's character, or Nancy Allen, sorry, not Karen Allen. Nancy Allen's character gets cut down by him, and she takes scythe. That's the short one, right? And then the sickle's the big one. And she's just, as soon as he is all powerful, and he picks Isaac up and throws him up and down, and then sticks a whole pole through him, and he bests him. I thought that was great. Freaking Nancy Allen's character grabs a little thing, and she just stabs him, and then he grabs the thing and helps her cut him even further up, besting him and killing him. I presume, because we don't see him again, and the movie's pretty much over after that. He just lays there, and then he goes, because he has this power where he can be like, bang, like he makes a person shoot themselves, and he's like, bang, and they blow their head off. And then a minute later, they're walking away after they killed him. He becomes he who walks behind the rose, which we've been waiting for 6 films, for him to actually embody somebody, take over them, possess them. And then he gets killed in 2 seconds, and then he goes, boom, boom. And the building blows up behind the 2 main characters as they're exiting the building, just walking right past, for seemingly no reason, I guess, to kill them, but they were already so far gone, it didn't matter. And then they're just out there together, and they're just and they're smiling, and they're like, and then the movie ends. You wait the whole movie for this to happen, and Isaac to become something he doesn't, and then this other guy is the actual bad guy, and you're like, oh wow, that's a twist. And then he's dead, and then they walk away. It's all in a minute, and you're like, what? And I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what Isaac was trying to do. I was trying to figure out his motives. I was trying to figure out what he was even trying to accomplish. He was trying to bring back he who walks behind the rose. He was trying to become him. He was trying to sacrifice for him. He was trying, I don't know. As I said, I'm sure there's people out there who are fans. Every movie has its fans, and they can leave me a comment saying I'm an idiot and this is what happened, and I'm fine with that. I've said it before in other reviews. I'm fine to be spoon-fed dumb fucking plot lines like this. Or they're brilliant. They're so brilliant, they're beyond me. And that's fine. Show me, tell me, and I will read it, and then I will fucking tell you in the comments wow, I'm an idiot. Thank you for being so smart and being able to figure out this genius of a film. All right, guys. I know 7's even worse than this, so I dread the fuck out of that one. But all right. And the next 2 after that aren't even much better. All right.